Have you ever stopped to wonder what's actually happening inside you right now as you're listening to this? When you feel happy or you make a choice, or even when you're just dreaming at night? Well, it's all being run by this incredibly complex biological machine. Today, we're going to take a journey, starting with a single neuron and ending with the complex feelings that make us who we are. So let's dive in. So really, what is running the show up there? Is it some kind of ghost in the machine, a little you pulling the levers? Or is it something way more tangible, something biological? Well, the answer, as we're about to find out, is hidden in a microscopic world of unbelievable complexity, all happening inside that 3-pound universe you carry around on your shoulders. All right, first things first, we've got to look at the hardware. Just think of your brain and your entire nervous system as the most powerful supercomputer ever created. It's running this super advanced software that we call the mind. And this biological hardware, it's literally the blueprint for everything you experience. And it all begins right here with this little guy, the neuron. These are the absolute basic building blocks of the whole system. You have something like 86 billion of them, that's billion with a B. They form this gigantic interconnected web, zapping information around with tiny electrical and chemical signals. Literally every single thought, feeling, or action is just these cells firing in amazing complex patterns. Okay, so how do all these billions of neurons actually talk to each other? They use these things called neurotransmitters. Honestly, the easiest way to think of them is like little chemical text messages. One neuron shoots them across a tiny gap to send a signal to the next one. You've probably heard of some of them, right? Dopamine, serotonin, they're famous for a reason. They have a huge impact on our mood, our motivation, our focus, pretty much everything. What's really cool is how our body manages its energy. Your nervous system basically has a gas pedal and a brake pedal. The gas pedal is your sympathetic system. That's your fight or flight mode. It gets you all revved up. And the brake? That's the parasympathetic system for rest and digest. It calms you down. These two are in this constant, really delicate dance to keep everything in balance, a state called homeostasis. Okay, so we've got the hardware down. We've got the neurons and their chemical messages. But how does all that wiring turn into, well, this, our experience of the world? In this next part, we're going to see how the brain takes in all this raw data and actually builds our reality from the ground up. This is such a critical point. Your eyes don't actually see, and your ears don't hear. They just collect data. That's sensation, just raw data, like light waves and sound waves hitting your body. Perception is what your brain does with that data. It's an active process of organizing and interpreting it to create your unique, subjective experience. So what you're seeing right now, it's really just your brain's best guess of what's out there. And you know what? This reality-building job doesn't stop even when you're asleep. Your brain isn't just shutting down for the night. It's going into this super important maintenance cycle. You start drifting off in stage 1, you go a bit deeper in stage 2, and then you hit stage 3, that really deep restorative sleep. And then you get to REM sleep. That's when your brain gets super active, filing away memories and creating those wild, vivid dreams. Now, to build our reality so quickly, the brain uses a bunch of shortcuts or mental cheat codes. The Gestalt principles are a perfect example of this. Your brain just automatically does things like group nearby objects together or separate a main figure from its background. It's basically a master pattern detector, hardwired to see the whole picture, not just a bunch of random disconnected parts. So our brain builds this incredible perception of the world. But what makes us actually do stuff in that world? What's that internal fire that gets you out of bed in the morning or pushes you to finish a big project? Well, that brings us to our next section, the science of motivation. At its core, motivation is just the why behind what we do. It's not one single thing. It's this complex cocktail of biology, our own psychology, and social pressures, all mixing together to get us moving and point us toward a goal. Generally, those motivational forces fall into 2 big categories. Are you doing something just because you absolutely love the process itself? That's intrinsic motivation. Or are you doing it to get something else, like a paycheck, a good grade, or for someone to say good job? That's extrinsic. It's actually a pretty good exercise. Think about your own life. What's the balance for you? And it turns out our motivations are kind of layered, which Abraham Maslow's famous hierarchy illustrates perfectly. The basic idea is that you have to take care of your fundamental needs first, things like food, water, safety.
Once those are handled, you can start focusing on the higher level stuff, like building relationships, getting respect, and eventually reaching your full potential.
All right. We have the wiring, we have how we perceive the world, and we have what motivates us. But what about the feelings themselves? The stuff that gives our whole experience its color and texture. That brings us to our final piece of the puzzle. What exactly is an emotion?
So here's a classic chicken and egg question. What comes first, the physical reaction or the feeling itself? Early theories, like James Lange, said you feel afraid because you're trembling. Then the Cannon-Bard theory came along and said, nope, they both happen at the exact same time. But then the Schachter-Singer theory added a game-changing ingredient: your thoughts. Your heart is pounding, you see the bear, and your brain puts those two things together and labels the experience fear. It's not just a reaction, it's an interpretation.
But here's something amazing. Even with all that complexity, it seems like some of our emotional experiences are totally universal. The groundbreaking work by researcher Paul Ekman found that no matter where you go in the world, across every human culture, there are just seven basic emotional expressions that everyone recognizes. And here they are: happiness, sadness, anger, fear, disgust, surprise, and contempt. The fact that these are understood everywhere suggests they're part of our shared human inheritance. It's like a universal language, hardwired right into our biology to help us connect with each other and, of course, to survive. And really, that brings us right to the heart of it all. Your biology isn't some separate thing from your thoughts and feelings. The firing of your neurons, the release of chemicals, your deepest drives, it's all woven together into this incredible, seamless whole. It's a system that's always working to help you survive, to connect with others, and to find meaning in it all. So, at the end of the day, what's the big takeaway? It's this: your brain isn't just passively watching a movie of reality. It is the director, the set designer, and the special effects artist actively building your reality from scratch, every single moment. The world you experience is a direct product of all this amazing biological machinery. And that leaves us with one heck of a powerful question. Knowing that, what kind of reality are you going to build?